I have a confession. When I first started researching this series, I believed that cattle futures played a major role in how beef was priced in the United States. I thought that they played a major role in, everything. I was slightly off. While cattle futures are important, they're not the whole enchilada. Think of the cattle market like a triangle. Futures make up one side of this triangle and serve to support the other two sides. So, what are those other two sides? The next mode by which cattle are sold is known as the cash market. This is going to be your auctions, your private sales, Craigslist ads, etc. This is how cattle have been sold for centuries. And up until recently, it was the main way that cattle were sold. For instance, let's say a packer calls up a feedlot and says, "Hey, I need a load of cows." They negotiate a price, they agree on the price, money's exchanged, cattle are delivered, and there you go. Or to bring it closer to home, let's say I post an ad on Craigslist that I have a cow for sale. Somebody calls me, we negotiate, eventually agree on a price, and I deliver the calf, he gives me money. The next side to this beefy triangle actually surprised me. I didn't even know this was a thing until I got further into my research. Formula contracts are similar to futures contracts, with one key difference. Remember, in a futures contract, the price is determined long before the cattle are delivered. This is in an effort to beat the market and make some money. With a formula contract, the price isn't determined until after the cows are slaughtered. How then are the prices determined? Once the animal has been slaughtered and the packers start opening the animal up, they're looking to see what kind of quality the carcass is. For better, higher quality carcasses, the producer is going to get a bonus. On top of the cash market, it's $1.20 a pound, they're going to get more money for that. On poorer quality carcasses, they're going to get discounts. So the base was at $1.20 a pound, now it's going to be lower. Essentially, the bigger and better the carcass, more money. As I've been learning how to finish out my steers, I've had some that finished out beautifully and some that were a little bit disappointing. It's taught me that by evaluating the outside, you can get an idea of what the inside's going to look like. I'm getting better at seeing who should maybe be hamburger and who should be filet mignon. Now, I did simplify the formulas a bit, and I could certainly go into more detail about the specific formulas the USDA uses, but I think that's better served for another video. So, how does all this fit together? If you'll remember, at the beginning of the video, I explained that when I started researching this topic, I believed that futures played a much greater role in how cattle are bought and sold in the United States. Truth is, futures make up less than 10% of all cattle bought and sold in the U.S. Cash markets come in at only 20%, which is still shockingly low, which leaves formula contract pricing to scoop up the remaining 60 to 70%. But why does this matter? Well, the cattle market, in its triangle shape, also acts as a loop. The cash market, as we explained earlier, sets the basis for everything else. Formula contract pricing uses this as a jumping off point. Futures then look at the cash market and the formula contract pricing and use those to gauge expectations. Hedgers then hedge against the cash market and hope to make a profit. And then it loops right back around, and those expectations, and depending on how hedgers hedged, influences the cash market. But it brings up a potential problem. If the cash market is only accounting for 20% of all U.S. cattle sold, can it really be a genuine reflection of the cattle market? It gets even stickier when you realize that the Big Four packers are responsible for processing 80 to 85% of all cattle in the U.S. I'm a small beef producer in one of the most isolated places in America, talking about a framework that doesn't even exist here. The Big Four packers, the formula contract pricing, the futures, none of it exists here. But I still think it's important to understand the system that the rest of the country runs on. I'm hopeful that maybe Alaska can teach us something about an alternative way to raise beef. If you want to see what that could look like, stay tuned for the next video.